Maya Washington stepped out of the yellow taxi and looked up at the tall glass building in front of her. The Hampton Grand Hotel Chicago stood 30 floors high, with golden letters spelling out the hotel name across the front. She had been planning this visit for weeks, but nobody at the hotel knew she was coming today. Maya owned 12 luxury hotels across the country. This was her newest one, and she wanted to see how the staff treated guests when the boss was not around. She always did surprise visits like this. It was the best way to find out what really happened in her hotels. The flight from New York had been long and tiring. Maya wore comfortable blue jeans, white sneakers, and a simple gray sweater. Her black hair was pulled back in a ponytail, and she carried a small backpack instead of fancy luggage. She looked like any regular person walking down the street. Maya walked through the shiny glass doors into the hotel lobby. The inside was beautiful, with marble floors, crystal lights hanging from the ceiling, and expensive furniture everywhere. Fresh flowers sat on tables, and soft music played in the background. She had spent 2 years planning every detail of this hotel. The lobby was busy with guests checking in and out. Business people in suits talked on their phones. Families with children waited for elevators. Everyone looked wealthy and well-dressed. Maya walked toward the front desk where 3 people were working. The man in the middle wore a dark blue suit, with a gold name tag that said Kevin Brooks, manager. He had short brown hair and looked to be in his 30s. Next to him stood a young woman with blonde hair named Lisa Carter. Her name tag said receptionist. On the other side was Amanda Foster, whose tag read concierge. Maya got in line behind a well-dressed couple who were checking out. She listened, as Kevin spoke to them with a big smile and friendly voice. "Thank you so much for staying with us, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson," Kevin said. "We hope you enjoyed your time here. Please come back and see us again soon." The couple smiled and thanked him. Before walking away with their expensive suitcases, now it was Maya's turn. She stepped up to the counter with a friendly smile. "Good afternoon," Maya said. "I would like to speak with someone about getting a room for tonight." Kevin looked up from his computer screen.
Yes.
His eyes moved up and down, looking at Maya's casual clothes and backpack. His friendly smile disappeared immediately. "I'm sorry, but we're completely booked," Kevin said in a cold voice. He did not even check his computer. Maya knew this was not true. She had called yesterday using a different name, and they had plenty of rooms available. "Are you sure?" Maya asked politely. "Maybe you could check your system again?" "I'm willing to pay full price." Kevin let out a small laugh.
It's just...
"A luxury hotel. Our rooms start at $400 per night. I don't think this is the right place for you." Lisa Carter whispered something to Amanda Foster, and they both giggled quietly.
What?
Maya heard one of them say, "Look at her clothes," under her breath. Maya felt her heart start beating faster, but she kept her voice calm and professional. "I understand. Your prices. Could I please speak with your manager about availability?" "I am the manager," Kevin said, pointing to his name tag. "And like I said, we have no rooms. There's a budget motel about 5 blocks down the street. That might be more suitable for someone like you." Other guests in the lobby began to notice what was happening. A man in an expensive suit turned to watch. A woman with designer shopping bags stopped walking and stared. Maya took a deep breath. "Sir, I think there's been a misunderstanding. Actually, the owner of this hotel? My name is Maya Washington, and I own the entire Hampton Grand chain." Kevin's eyes grew wide for a second. Then he started laughing loudly. Lisa and Amanda joined in. "Right, and I'm the President of the United States," Kevin said sarcastically. "Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave now. You're disturbing our real guests." "I'm not lying," Maya said firmly. "I can show you my identification. I have business cards and corporate documents in my bag." "Anyone can print fake business cards," Amanda Foster said, speaking for the first time. "We see people like you trying to scam hotels all the time." Maya felt anger rising in her chest, but she forced herself to stay calm. She had faced discrimination before in her life, but never at one of her own hotels. "Look, I know this might seem strange," Maya said, "but I'm telling you the truth. I own this hotel. I just want to check in and inspect the property. Can you please call your general manager? Patricia Holmes." Kevin shook his head. Mrs. Holmes is way too busy to deal with this nonsense. Frankly, I don't believe a word you're saying. This is a respectable establishment, and we don't appreciate people coming in here trying to cause trouble." "Not causing trouble," Maya replied. "I'm simply trying to check into my own hotel." "Your hotel?" Lisa Carter laughed. "Lady, you can barely afford to shop at the dollar store, let alone own a place like this." More guests were watching now. Some had their phones out, pointing them toward the front desk. Maya could see the red recording lights blinking. Kevin noticed the crowd forming and became more aggressive. "Ma'am, I'm going to call security if you don't leave right now. We have important guests checking in, and you're making them uncomfortable." "I have every right to be here," Maya said, raising her voice slightly for the first time. "Now, this is my property, and I'm asking you to treat me with basic respect." "Security," Kevin called out loudly. "We need security at the front desk immediately." A large man in a black uniform came walking quickly across the lobby. His name tag read Tony Martinez Security. He was tall and muscular with short black hair and an unfriendly expression. "What's the problem here?" Looking directly at Maya. "This woman is claiming she owns the hotel," Kevin explained. "She's been bothering our staff and disturbing guests. She needs to be escorted out immediately." Tony stepped closer to Maya, towering over her. "You need to leave this property? Right now? Or I'm calling the police." Maya looked around the lobby at all the faces staring at her. Some guests looked uncomfortable, while others seemed entertained by the drama. She realized that no matter what she said, these employees were not going to believe her or treat her with respect. "Fine," Maya said quietly. "I'll leave. But this isn't over." Tony grabbed Maya's arm roughly and started walking her toward the exit. "It is over, lady. Don't come back, or you'll be arrested for trespassing." As they reached the glass doors, Maya turned back to look at Kevin Brooks one more time. He was smiling smugly and had already turned his attention to the next guest in line. Maya walked outside into the busy Chicago street, her mind racing with anger and determination. She pulled out her phone and started making calls. 5 minutes, she would be back and everything would change forever. Tony Martinez kept his strong grip on Maya's arm as he pushed her through the glass doors of the Hampton Grand Hotel. The busy Chicago street was full of people walking in both directions. Cars honked their horns in traffic, and the sound of construction work echoed from nearby buildings. Maya tried to pull her arm free, but Tony held on tighter. "Let go of me," she said firmly. "I can walk by myself." "I'll let go when you're far enough away from this hotel," Tony replied in a rough voice. "We don't want troublemakers like you coming back and bothering our guests." Several people on the sidewalk stopped to watch what was happening. A woman with shopping bags looked concerned. An older man in a business suit shook his head disapprovingly. 2 teenagers with backpacks pulled out their phones and started recording. Tony finally released Maya's arm when they were about 20 feet from the hotel entrance. Maya rubbed her arm where his fingers had gripped her. She could already feel a bruise forming. "Now listen carefully," Tony said, pointing his finger at Maya's face. "You stay away from this hotel. If I see you around here again, I'm calling the police immediately. Do you understand me?" Maya looked Tony straight in the eyes. "I understand perfectly." "But you're making a huge mistake." Tony laughed and shook his head. "The only mistake here is you thinking you could fool us with your lies. Lady, I've been working security for 15 years. I can spot a scammer from a mile away." "I'm not a scammer," Maya said calmly. "I'm telling you the truth. Own this hotel." "Right," Tony said sarcastically. "And I suppose you own the whole city too. Look, I don't know what game you're playing, but it won't work here. This is a classy place for classy people. You need to find somewhere else to cause trouble." Maya felt her anger growing, but she forced herself to stay in control. "What exactly makes you think I don't belong here?" Tony looked at her clothes again, from her sneakers to her ponytail. "Come on, lady, look at yourself. You're wearing jeans and sneakers to a 5-star hotel. You don't have any luggage except that little backpack. Probably can't even afford a cup of coffee in a restaurant." "So you're judging me based on my appearance?" Maya asked. "I'm judging you based on reality," Tony replied. "Rich people don't dress like they're going to clean someone's house. They have style, they have class. They carry themselves differently." A small crowd had formed around them on the sidewalk. Maya could see more people recording with their phones. She knew this whole incident would probably be on social media within hours. "You have no right to treat me this way," Maya said, raising her voice so everyone could hear. "I haven't done anything wrong. You tried to lie your way into a hotel room," Tony shot back. "That's fraud, lady. Should call the cops right now and have you arrested." An elderly woman who had been watching stepped forward. "Excuse me, young man," she said to Tony. "There's no need to be so aggressive. This woman seems perfectly respectful." Tony turned to look at the woman. "Ma'am, with all due respect, you don't know what's going on here. This person was trying to scam our hotel. She was claiming to be the owner, which is obviously ridiculous." "Why is it ridiculous?" the elderly woman asked. "How do you know she's not telling the truth?" Tony pointed at Maya again. "Just look at her. Does she look like someone who owns a luxury hotel chain? I don't think so." Maya felt embarrassed and frustrated, as people were judging her based on nothing but her skin color and casual clothes. She had worked her whole life to build her business, and now she was being treated like a criminal. "I want to go back inside and speak with Patricia Holmes," Maya said. "She's the general manager, and she knows who I am." "No way," Tony replied immediately. "You're not going back in there. Mrs. Holmes is a busy woman. She doesn't have time to deal with people like you." "People like me?" Maya asked. "What exactly do you mean by that?" Tony realized he had said something wrong, but he didn't back down. "You know what I mean? People who cause problems. People who don't belong in nice places." The crowd around them was getting bigger. Maya could hear people whispering to each other. Some seemed to be taking her side, while others appeared to agree. With Tony, a young man with a beard stepped forward. "Hey man," he said to Tony, "you're being way too harsh. She's not bothering anyone. Stay out of this," Tony warned. "This is hotel business. It's happening on a public sidewalk," the young man replied. "That makes it everyone's business." Tony was getting more frustrated. "Oh." He pulled out his phone and started dialing. "Fine, I'm calling the police. They can deal with this." Maya's heart started beating faster. She knew that if the police came, the situation would get much worse. Even if she proved who she was later, the damage would be done. Videos of her being arrested would be all over the internet. "Wait," Maya said. "Don't call the police. I'll leave peacefully." "Too late," Tony said. "You should have left when I first asked you to." Maya could hear him talking to someone on the phone. "Yes, I need police at the Hampton Grand Hotel on Michigan Avenue. We have someone here who is trespassing and won't leave the area." The crowd around them was getting restless. Some people were arguing with each other about what was right and wrong.
Ow.
Maya felt completely helpless. "This is crazy," she said to no one in particular. "I can't believe this is happening." A woman in her 40s approached Maya. "Honey, are you okay? Do you need help?" Maya looked at the woman's kind face and felt tears starting to form in her eyes. "I'm fine, thank you. I just need to make some phone calls." Maya walked a few steps away from Tony and pulled out her phone. She scrolled through her contacts until she found the number she needed. Her hands were shaking as she pressed the call button. "Carlos, it's Maya," she said, when her assistant answered. "I need you to come to the Chicago hotel immediately. Bring Derek and bring all my identification documents. And Carlos, call Patricia Holmes right now and tell her I'm outside the hotel." Maya hung up and looked back at Tony, who was still talking. "To the police." She smiled for the first time since leaving the hotel. In just a few minutes, everything was going to change. These people had no idea what was about to happen. Maya walked back toward the hotel entrance, staying just far enough away to avoid Tony's reach. She wanted to see the looks on their faces when the truth finally came out. Maya stood on the sidewalk watching Tony Martinez talk on his phone with the police. The crowd around her had grown larger, with more people stopping to see what was happening.
Oh.
Some were still recording everything with their phones. Maya checked her watch. It had been exactly 5 minutes since she called Carlos. Suddenly, a black car pulled up in front of the hotel. Maya smiled as she saw Carlos Rivera step out of the passenger seat. He was a tall, thin man in his 30s, with dark hair and a perfectly pressed navy blue suit. He carried a leather briefcase and moved with the confidence of someone who worked for important people. From the driver's side came Derek Johnson, Maya's head of security. Derek was a large, muscular man who used to work for the police. He wore a dark suit too, but Maya could see the outline of his security badge on his belt. His presence immediately made people around them step back. Carlos spotted Maya in the crowd and walked straight to her. "Ms. Washington, are you all right?" he asked with concern in his voice. "I'm fine, Carlos," Maya replied. "Do you have everything I asked for?" Carlos opened his briefcase and pulled out several official-looking documents. "I have your corporate identification, ownership papers, business licenses, and photographs from the hotel's grand opening last month. I also have your business cards and a letter from your lawyer." Derek joined them, looking around at the crowd. "What exactly happened here?" he asked in a deep, serious voice. Maya quickly explained everything that had occurred inside the hotel and outside with Tony. As she spoke, Derek's face grew darker with anger. "Where's the security guard who put his hands on you?" Derek asked Maya, pointed to Tony, who was still on the phone but had noticed the arrival of the two men in suits. Tony ended his call and started walking toward them with a suspicious look on his face. "Excuse me," Tony called out. "You can't park that car there. This is a hotel loading zone." Derek turned to face Tony with a calm but intimidating expression. "I'm Derek Johnson, head of security for Hampton Grand Hotels. This is Carlos Rivera, personal assistant to the CEO. And this," he said, gesturing to Maya, "is Maya Washington, the owner of this hotel." Tony laughed loudly. "Oh, come on. Now she's got actors helping her with this stupid game? I already called the police. They'll be here any minute." Carlos stepped forward holding the documents. "Sir, I understand there's been a misunderstanding. These papers will prove Ms. Washington's identity and ownership of this property." "I don't care about your fake papers," Tony said, waving his hand dismissively. "Anyone can print documents at home these days. You people must think we're really stupid." Derek's jaw tightened. "You people. What exactly do you mean by that?" Tony realized he had said something that sounded bad, but he didn't back down. "I mean, scammers. People who try to trick honest workers into believing their lies." Maya had heard enough. She walked past Derek and Carlos and stood directly in front of Tony. "Mr. Martinez, I'm giving you one last chance to apologize and escort me inside to speak with Patricia Holmes." "Lady, I don't care if you brought the whole circus with you," Tony replied rudely. "You're not getting back inside this hotel. Period." Maya nodded slowly. "Very well. Carlos, please call our legal team and inform them we'll need to file charges for assault, discrimination, and false imprisonment." "False imprisonment?" Tony laughed. "I just escorted you outside. That's my job. You grabbed my arm and forced me off the property while making discriminatory comments about my appearance and race," Maya said calmly. "Derek, did you take photographs of the bruise on my arm?" Derek held up his phone. "Already done, Ms. Washington. I also recorded this entire conversation." Tony's confident expression began to change. He looked at Carlos's expensive suit and briefcase full of official documents. He noticed Derek's professional demeanor and security badge. For the first time, he seemed to consider that maybe these people were telling the truth. "Look," Tony said, his voice less certain than before. "Even if you are who you say you are, which I still don't believe, I was just doing my job. The front desk manager told me to remove you." "Kevin Brooks," Maya said. "Yes, I remember him very well." Carlos opened his briefcase again and pulled out his tablet. "It's Washington. I have Patricia Holmes on the phone. She's been trying to reach Kevin Brooks for the past 10 minutes, but he's not answering." Maya took the tablet from Carlos. "Patricia, this is Maya. I'm standing outside the hotel right now after being physically thrown out by your staff." Even from several feet away, people could hear Patricia Holmes shouting through the phone speaker. "What? Maya, where are you exactly?" "I'm coming down right now." Maya ended the call and handed the tablet back to Carlos. She looked at Tony, whose face had turned pale. She called you Maya," Tony said quietly. "That's because Maya is my name," Maya replied. "Just like I told you from the beginning." Crowd around them had grown even larger. People were pushing closer to hear what was happening. Maya could see hotel guests looking out the windows from inside the lobby. Suddenly, The glass doors of the hotel burst open. Patricia Holmes came running out, her high heels clicking on the pavement. She was a woman in her 50s, with short blonde hair, wearing a black business suit. Her face was red with panic and embarrassment. "Maya," Patricia called out as she reached the group. "Oh my God, I am so sorry. When Carlos called and told me what happened, I couldn't believe it." Patricia immediately turned to Tony with fury in her eyes. "Mr. Martinez, what in the world were you thinking? This is Maya Washington, the owner of our entire hotel chain." Tony's mouth fell open. He looked back and forth between Maya and Patricia several times. But she was dressed like like what? Patricia demanded. Like a normal person. Since when do we judge people based on their clothes? The crowd around them started murmuring louder. Maya could hear people saying things like, "I knew." She was telling the truth, and that security guard is in big trouble. Maya stepped forward. "Patricia, I want to speak with Kevin Brooks, Lisa Carter, and Amanda Foster immediately." All 4 of these employees demonstrated behavior that goes against everything our company stands for. Patricia nodded quickly. "Of course, I'll call them out here right now." "No," Maya said firmly. "I'm coming inside. After all, it is my hotel." Maya walked toward the entrance with Carlos and Derek beside her. Patricia followed, trying to explain and apologize at the same time. Tony stood frozen on the sidewalk, finally understanding the huge mistake he had made. As Maya reached the glass doors, she turned back to look at the crowd. Many people were still recording with their phones. She knew this whole incident would be all over social media soon. Maya pushed open the doors and walked back into her hotel lobby. This time, everyone would know exactly who she was. Maya walked through the glass doors of the Hampton Grand Hotel with her head held high. Carlos Rivera and Derek Johnson followed closely behind her. While Patricia Holmes rushed ahead trying to clear a path through the crowded lobby, every person in the lobby stopped what they were doing to stare. The same guests who had watched Maya being thrown out just minutes earlier now saw her returning with an entourage of professional-looking people. Whispers filled the air as people pointed and tried to figure out what was happening. Maya walked directly toward the front desk where Kevin Brooks was still working. He was helping an elderly couple check in and hadn't noticed the commotion yet. Lisa Carter and Amanda Foster were both busy with other guests, but Maya could see them glancing nervously in her direction. "Kevin," Patricia Holmes called out sharply, "I need to speak with you immediately." Kevin looked up from his computer screen and froze when he saw Maya standing there. His face went completely white and his hands started shaking. The elderly couple he was helping looked confused by his sudden change in behavior. I don't understand," Kevin stammered. "What is she doing back here? I thought Tony got rid of her." Patricia's voice was ice cold. "Kevin Brooks, meet Maya Washington, the owner and CEO of Hampton Grand Hotels. You know, the woman you threw out of her own hotel 20 minutes ago." The elderly couple stepped back in shock. Other guests nearby stopped their conversations and turned to listen. The entire lobby became quiet, except for the soft background music. Kevin's mouth opened and closed several times, but no words came out. He looked like a fish gasping for air. Sweat began forming on his forehead as the reality of his situation hit him. "Ms. Washington," Kevin finally managed to say in a shaky voice, "There must be some mistake. I was trying to protect the hotel from ... double quotes from what?" Maya asked calmly, but her eyes were sharp as knives. "From a paying customer who wanted a room. From someone who asked politely to speak with management." Lisa Carter had stopped helping her customer and was now staring at the scene with wide eyes. She whispered something to Amanda Foster, who looked equally terrified. Carlos Rivera opened his briefcase and pulled out his tablet. "Ms. Washington, should I begin documenting this conversation for our legal team?" "Yes, Carlos," Maya replied without taking her eyes off Kevin. "I want everything recorded." Kevin started talking rapidly, his words tumbling over each other. "Look, Ms. Washington, I'm really sorry if there was a misunderstanding. You have to understand we get all kinds of people trying to scam hotels. I was just being careful. I was protecting your business. By refusing to check for room availability," Maya asked. "By making assumptions about my ability to pay based on my appearance? By having me physically removed from the property? Derek Johnson stepped forward and showed his phone to Kevin. I have photographs of the bruises on Ms. Washington's arm from where your security guard grabbed her. We also have video recordings of the discriminatory comments that were made. Kevin's face grew even paler. I never told Tony to hurt anyone. I just asked him to escort her out because I thought she was, ... Because she was what? Patricia Holmes demanded. Finish that sentence, Kevin. Kevin looked around the lobby desperately, as if searching for help that wasn't coming. Because she didn't look like our usual customers, he finally admitted quietly. And what exactly do your usual customers look like? Maya asked. Kevin realized. He was digging himself into a deeper hole with every word. I didn't mean anything bad by that, I just meant, well-dressed people, people with expensive luggage. Maya nodded slowly. I see. So you judge people's worth based on their clothes and luggage. Tell me, Kevin, what did you think? When you saw my jeans and sneakers, I thought. Kevin stopped himself, knowing that anything he said would make things worse. You thought I was poor, Maya said for him. You thought I didn't belong in a nice hotel? You thought I was trying to scam you? And you treated me accordingly. Lisa Carter couldn't stay quiet any longer. She stepped forward with tears in her eyes. Ms. Washington, I'm so sorry. I didn't know who you were. I was just following Kevin's lead. I would never have. Would never have what? Maya asked, turning her attention to Lisa. Would never have whispered about my clothes. Would never have laughed when your manager insulted me. Lisa started crying. Harder? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I need this job. I have 2 kids at home. Amanda Foster also stepped forward, her voice shaking. Ms. Washington, please forgive us. We made a terrible mistake. We'll do anything to make this right. Maya looked at each of them carefully. The mistake wasn't just refusing me service. The mistake was showing me exactly what kind of people you are when you think no one important is watching. More hotel. Guests had gathered around to listen. Many of them had their phones out, recording everything. Maya could see hotel employees peeking out from behind pillars and doorways. Trying to hear what was happening, Patricia Holmes tried to take control of the situation. It's Washington. Perhaps we should continue this conversation in my office. Privately, no, Maya said firmly. This happened in public, and it will be addressed in public. I want every guest and every employee to hear this. Kevin made one last desperate attempt to save his job. It's Washington. I've been working in hotels for 10 years. I've never had any complaints before. This was just one mistake, one bad day. Please give me another chance. Maya studied Kevin's face for a long moment. Kevin, in 10 years of hotel work, how many times do you think you've judged guests based on their appearance? How many people have you treated poorly because they didn't? Meet your standards of what a hotel guest should look like. Kevin couldn't answer. He knew the truth, and Maya could see it in his eyes. I built this company on the principle that every guest deserves respect and dignity, Maya continued. What happened here today shows me that principle means nothing. To you, Derek Johnson handed Maya a folder. Ms. Washington, I have the security camera footage from the lobby. Everything that happened has been recorded. Maya opened the folder and looked at several printed photographs. They showed clear images of Kevin's dismissive behavior, Lisa and Amanda laughing, and Tony grabbing her arm. These photos will be very useful in our review process, Maya said loudly enough for everyone to hear. Kevin, Lisa, and Amanda all realized their jobs were in serious danger. They had never seen their general manager, Patricia, look so angry and embarrassed. They knew that whatever happened next, their lives at the Hampton Grand Hotel were probably over. Maya closed the folder and looked around the lobby at all the faces watching her. It was time to make some very important decisions about the future of her hotel. Maya Washington stood in the center of the hotel lobby, surrounded by guests, employees, and the 4 staff members who had mistreated her. The entire room was silent, except for the soft crying sounds coming from Lisa Carter. Everyone waited to hear what Maya would say next. Maya looked around the lobby at all the faces watching her. She saw fear in some eyes, curiosity in others, and respect in many. This was her hotel, her business, and her reputation on the line. What she did next would send a message to everyone about what kind of company she ran. Patricia, Maya said in a clear, strong voice. Please call all available hotel staff to the lobby immediately. I want everyone to hear what I have to say. Patricia. Holmes nodded quickly and picked up her phone. Within minutes, housekeeping staff, restaurant workers, maintenance people, and office employees began filling the lobby. Soon, there were nearly 50 people gathered around Maya. Maya waited until everyone was quiet, then began to speak. My name is Maya Washington, and I own this hotel and 11 others across the country. 30 minutes ago, I walked through those doors as a regular customer, wanting to check in and inspect my property. She gestured toward Kevin Brooks, who was standing with his head down. Instead of receiving professional service, I was judged. Insulted and physically thrown out of my own hotel by 4 employees who decided I didn't belong here based on my appearance, murmurs rippled through the crowd of hotel workers. Many looked shocked and embarrassed that this had happened at their workplace. I want everyone to understand something very important, Maya continued. This is not just about me. This is about every guest who walks through those doors. Every person who comes here deserves to be treated with respect and dignity, regardless of what they look like, what they wear, or what you think about their background. Derek Johnson stepped forward and handed Maya another folder. She opened it and pulled out several sheets of paper. I have here the security camera footage, witness statements, and photographic evidence of what happened today. Kevin Brooks, Lisa, Carter, Amanda Foster, and Tony Martinez all participated in discriminatory behavior that goes against everything this company stands for. Kevin looked up with desperate eyes. Ms. Washington, please. I have a family. I need this job. I promise. It will never happen again. Maya met his gaze directly. Kevin, you had your chance to do the right thing. Multiple chances, in fact. When I asked politely for a room, you could have checked your computer. When I said I was the owner, you could have at least investigated. When I asked to speak with Patricia, you could have made that call. Instead, you chose to mock me and have me thrown out. She turned to address the entire group again. Today, I'm making some important changes to ensure this never happens again at any of my hotels. Carlos Rivera stepped forward with his tablet ready to take notes. Maya began speaking in her official CEO voice. Effective immediately, Kevin Brooks is terminated for discrimination and unprofessional conduct. Lisa Carter is terminated for participating in discriminatory behavior. Amanda Foster is terminated for the same reason. Tony Martinez is terminated for assault and discriminatory conduct. Gasps echoed through the lobby. The 4 employees looked devastated, but no one seemed surprised. By Maya's decision, Patricia Holmes, Maya continued, you are being placed on probation for 6 months. As general manager, you are responsible for the culture and training of your staff. The fact that 4 employees felt comfortable behaving this way tells me there are serious problems with management oversight. Patricia nodded solemnly. Ms. Washington, I take full responsibility, and I will do whatever it takes to fix these problems. Maya pulled out another document. Starting Monday, every Hampton Grand Hotel will implement mandatory diversity and sensitivity training for all employees. This training will be repeated every 6 months, and attendance will be required for continued employment. She looked around at the faces of her remaining employees. We will also be instituting a new policy. Any employee who treats a guest with discrimination or disrespect will be immediately terminated. No warnings, no second chances. Our guests trust us to provide excellent service, and we will not betray that trust. An older woman from housekeeping raised her hand. Ms. Washington, what if we're not sure how to handle a difficult situation? Maya smiled at her. Excellent question. We're going to provide extensive customer service training alongside the diversity training. We'll learn how to handle every situation professionally and respectfully. If you're ever unsure, you'll always have a supervisor to call for help. Carlos finished typing on his tablet and looked up. Ms. Washington, the local news stations are requesting interviews about this incident. Several videos have already gone viral on social media. Maya nodded. I'll speak with the media later. Right now, I want to focus on our guests and employees. Turn to address the hotel guests who were still watching. To all of our guests, I want to personally apologize for what you witnessed today. This behavior does not represent the values of Hampton Grand Hotels. We will do everything in our power to ensure you have an excellent experience during your stay." An elderly gentleman in an expensive suit stepped forward. "Ms. Washington, I want you to know that how you handled this situation has impressed me greatly. I'll definitely be staying at your hotels in the future." Several other guests nodded in agreement. A young woman with a camera said, "I recorded everything that happened. The way those employees treated you was terrible, but your response was perfect. You should be proud." Maya felt a mix of emotions. She was still angry about what had happened, but she was also proud of how she had handled the situation. This incident would probably be discussed for years, but she had turned it into a teaching moment for her entire company. "Now," Maya said to Patricia, "I'd like to check into my room. I believe you have the presidential suite available." Patricia smiled for the first time all day. "Of course, Ms. Washington. Right away." As Patricia led Maya toward the front desk, the crowd in the lobby began to disperse. Employees returned to their work with a new understanding of their company's values. Guests continued their conversations about what they had witnessed. Kevin, Lisa, Amanda, and Tony gathered their personal belongings and left the hotel in silence. Their careers in hospitality were probably over, but Maya hoped they would learn from this experience and become better people. Maya finished checking in and took the elevator to her suite. As the doors closed, she looked out at her hotel lobby. One more time? Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but today she had made it clear that discrimination had no place in her business. The incident at Hampton Grand Hotel Chicago would be talked about for months. Videos of Maya's handling of the situation would inspire other business owners to take similar stands against discrimination. Most importantly, every employee at every Hampton Grand Hotel would remember this day and treat every guest with the respect they deserved. Maya had turned one of the worst experiences of her career into a powerful lesson about justice, dignity, and doing the right thing.